I'm from Lynchburg.
We're doing him at 2 o'clock in the same studio.
I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock.
So if there are any questions you have here at this time, even you think you need to just, there's something for you to write.
Jot it down.
Yep, jot it down. I'm going to be
Short though, only 23 minutes.
I'm going to be in close contact with you. If you do this, that means I need to push my jump button, let it go, and then I'm going to talk about it.
Favorite Olivia Coleman was the prize winner.
Because I'm not,
No, Mayor's perfectly capable of handling
you go with that?
anything.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't know this, so help me out. You're good with everything?
Yeah.
CBS News
All right.
military analyst.
All right.
I don't know the answer, so I don't know the answer.
Okay, so we,
We'll go get it.
all right, you know what, guys, I love this. This is truly how it's supposed to work. The problem is, I like to plan everything, Mayor, and we can't plan the calls.
That's a good thing, you know.
Well, it is. What it does is let everybody know this is legit, because, you know, Mike Dunn, the redheads like to know what's happening when it's happening.
I'm dated too, I understand.
The words there were dated, past tense. He married a beautiful blonde for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? So we are so
We're not
happy.
sure why she did, but he did.
Oh,
he married way up with
that. Hines turned herself in.
Oh, she has?
I got word officially. Well, not officially, but
Mike, can you check your phone?
I'll be.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's great to start off with. Awesome. Thank you, Jesus.
I figured she was probably laundered up.
That's what
I mean, that would be the best advice her family could give her.
Yeah.
I told my wife yesterday, I said, you know, that's exactly what she should do.
Yes. Well, you know, all of us are all talking about it.
Go turn yourself in.
So we got this just so we know names, and we will be talking about this article that came out.
You got Nicholas, what's the Gallinger?
Yeah, this was Nicholas Gallinger, yes. Yeah.
He was from Cincinnati, wasn't he? Didn't I read that somewhere?
I think he was. And, you know, he just finished a month.
Yeah.
In the. And then what was Sergeant Monroe? Remember his first name?
Was it John? I'm not sure.
Let me make sure everything's turned up here, because if not, I'll be like a fool back there in the back.
There's some disturbing news.
Who's that guy?
You'll be running in here.
That's right, right.
Is it John?
I think it is John. I think so.
I think John is correct.
Mistakes in 19 out of the 20. They include Coors Light, Miller Lite, Budweiser, Corona, Heineken, and Samuel Adams. Some of the makers hitting back then, telling USA Today you don't have to drink hundreds of gallons a day
Oh, it's already.
to ingest harmful levels of carcinogen.
Okay,
You
what
said
time?
you turned yourself in.
Can you put that up on your phone or screenshot it?
Harry Medved at Fandango.
Yeah, I can.
All right, okay. Cool. Thanks, man, I appreciate it.
Oh, he's got Matt on the phone.
Okay, all right, I just needed to get
I was going to say Monroe.
to a radio show.
She's so picturesque.
And said,
Oh, yeah.
and she turned herself in. Thank you, Matt, I appreciate it.
Deborah
It is
Rodriguez.
John.
John? Okay.
You got a phone number for it?
Yeah. Junior. John Robert Monroe.
John Robert Monroe.
Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.
That name is correct.
They're calling it a 100-year flood, some of the worst weather we've seen in recorded history
so
in
late.
the Tennessee Valley over the last week.
Well, that was good. She
That
was
was
right.
smart.
She
She probably did.
areas in the Tennessee Valley. Multiple roads remain closed. Lake Resort's drive shifted
Oh.
because of the muck that it sits upon.
I know her father really
One
well.
lane, and hundreds of homeowners report
Except for
damage to their
Kirk,
houses.
big softball
Janet
coach.
Hines, a woman accused in a hit
Good morning, Derek Ball. Good morning, Dreama, Tina. We got Saudi Daisy. We've got Red Bank. Hey, guys. Hickson. Thank you for joining this morning. Julie Cook Davis from the Round Table. Hey, guys. So good to have you. Beth, David, everyone. Got the mayor here. Q&A full hour. Stay tuned.
Hasn't been seen since last Sunday. Russell Stroud, there's the radio news talk 92.7 Action News now.
We're close. Please slide in right there, Mayor, if you don't mind.
I'm in the way.
No, you're not in the way. I just need to slide in right quick and do one thing.
That never works for me. See, now how did
Thank
you do
you.
that?
Awesome.
Is that a straight edge?
Yeah, okay. Put this with that.
Oh, I'm glad that happened, so I turned the phone off. Glad it happened now.
I'm going to let the mayor help me promo.
Uh-oh.
Look, I'm all about swag. I love me. I'm my daddy's child. I go to the hospital,
Yeah.
get all the cups,
Yeah.
the swag.
Yeah.
So, we got one more, then we're hitting it. All right. So we're not going to do a whole lot of opening. We're going to go straight from the music to talk about this, the latest news, and then we're going to go to the tribute.
805-9100. With rates at 9 months less, your home purchasing power just went up $20,000.
That was the upcoming ball, yes.
She's in the county jail right now. She
Okay.
turned herself in.
Awesome. So can I say that you're here with us or no?
Sure, feel free.
I feel much better. Hey, make sure Jason's ready for the song. I'm just going to be able to cue it up like this. You get to see behind the scenes, all this information, guys. It's what we do to bring you current information.
Call 805-9100. And this phone number,
We've got one more commercial
9100 or home report.
Where do you see that?
right here. So see this right here, Donna?
Got you.
That's my bed. So these are all moving down through here. You see these timers?
Yeah.
They rotate.
Where can you find
So you'll see, like,
surrounding, fine dining,
27
and
seconds
Italy,
countdown.
Italy, and Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's got one more commercial than me.
There you go.
Yeah, Portobello's. Yeah, see Portobello's there.
Bud without the extra helping of guilt.
And they brought me here and told me to learn all this, Mayor.
Homemade pasta and
I said,
That'd be
why-
fun, though.
I said, why can't I just talk?
No, I love technology. I wish I was a lot better at it, but that'd be fun to learn.
It actually has been eye-opening. It's nothing like TV. Totally different. Totally different. You done? Oh, no. No. Thank you, Tony. Take your place in here. Here we go. All right, Mayor. All right. Good morning, Hamilton County, Chattanooga, and the region. You've hit the best dial, 92.7 FM, The Donna Show at Nooga Radio. We're connecting you to people, information, and resources that help you live your best life. Why? Because you should. All right, guys. You know, I've got Mayor Jim Coppinger, our County Mayor Jim Coppinger here. So if you're tuning in on the radio, or if you're tuning in on Facebook, we just have some we just have some news that has been brought to us. I have Mike Dunn here as well. Mike, I'm going to ask you, what is your official title?
Communications Manager for Hamilton County.
So he's the Communications Manager for Hamilton County, and we have been told, Mayor, that, what is her name? Janet Elaine Hines has turned
Yes.
herself in,
Yes.
and she's where?
She's at the Hamilton County Jail as we're speaking.
You know, I can tell in your eyes this is hard for you.
Sure.
It's hard for me.
Yes.
I've been sharing this information on the air on my social media because that's what you do when you're a good journalist.
Mm-hmm.
But two families are hurting
Right.
greatly. And we talked about it the whole time. What are your thoughts right now as a Hamilton County mayor and this loss, but now that she's turned herself in, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, our prayers certainly go out to the family of the officer,
Yes.
Officer Gallinger, that sacrificed his life and the sacrifice that his family's made. And so, again, it's the realization that these jobs are extremely dangerous.
Yes.
Our men and women that put their lives on the line every day.
Yes.
It's been with me since I've first heard about it, and will continue for quite some time. But again, you know, we also pray for the family of the Hines as well.
Yes.
But again, as we go through this, our community will grieve for the next several days
Yes.
and weeks, even months, and sometimes even, you know, I lost a good friend in Tim Chapin when he was
Yes.
killed years ago. So
Such a wonderful man.
he was, and this never goes away, and Officer Gallinger will never be forgotten either.
Well, you know, as a daughter to a fireman, I understand what it means to send your dad out and wonder if he comes home. I know that feeling all too well. Mike, you've been in this industry for a long time, and it doesn't get easier just because you're the communications guy, does it?
No, it never does.
Pull that
again,
mic close to you, Mike.
We'll echo the mayor and just say our thoughts and prayers are with the family. This
Yes.
is a horrible, horrible time for those who protect and serve us.
It is. And Mike, I don't want to dismiss anybody's role in this because it's a community that's hurting. And in that, you know, we also today, which is just ironic, Mayor, how this fell, but we're honoring another man today, Sergeant John Monroe with the Chattanooga Police Department. So,
Just as tragic, a young man with a family,
Yes.
children, that died suddenly and unexpectedly at the young age of 49. And again, this wasn't in the line of duty, but he's one of our find strong officers in the Chattanooga Police Department that serve this community well.
So guys, this morning, we're going to start off with a tribute. And it is the Amazing Grace in the Bagpipes. As you've heard it this morning on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, The Donna Show, Janet Elaine Hines has turned herself in. She is now in custody at the Hamilton County Jail. At the same time, we are mourning the loss of Nicholas Gallinger. We're now mourning the loss that this family is going to endure. It is a fine balance of praying for Officer Nicholas and his family and loving them, and a fine balance of this woman that we have no idea what happened, but we will. I'm just thankful, Mayor, that she turned herself in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that, I talked with the mayor to make sure we could do something special this morning. So I'm going to ask the engineer to cue up a song. Wherever you are right now, Chief David Roddy, Assistant Chief Dana Vaughn, Chief Nathan Vaughn, and to all the other officers there, we, Mayor Jim Coppinger and myself, Mike, here in the studio, we just want to give a tribute to them before we start the show today. You all right with that, Mayor?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Jason. Nicholas Gallinger, Chattanooga Police Department. John Robert Monroe, Chattanooga Police Department. Mayor Coppinger, we pay them tribute today.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the sacrifices that they and their family have made for this community are abundant, and they'll never be forgotten, neither one will.
Absolutely. Well, today, it's always hard. You know, Mike, you've been in TV and radio. It's always hard to go from something like that to the show, but the show does go on, and we're going to continue. And, you know, you, Mayor of all people, know that life continues on. You know, the mayors and our police department, you guys endure a lot. You do. And you know, I used to think about my dad later in life as I got older and wiser and figured out what he was really doing, that, man, the fact that he comes home every day is truly a blessing.
Really is. I mean, you know, our first responders, whether they're firefighters, police officers, EMS, or whatever level, they understand the risk, and you know, you'll hear that a lot over the next several days and weeks. But again, I mean, to the general public, you know, we should, when we see an officer today, certainly go up to them and thank them
Yes.
for what they do, because
Great advice, Mayor.
honestly, this could happen at any point in time, any minute.
Absolutely. So we're go ahead. We're going to open up the phone lines, guys. What we're looking to do here is the mayor hopefully is going to be coming here once a month, if his schedule permits, to do a 1-hour session. What I'm hoping is eventually I don't have to be here. I'm just
It wouldn't
kidding.
be a show without you, though, Donna.
It's called the Donna Show for a
That's
reason, right? Well, my job in this today, guys, is to just facilitate getting the phones answered and making sure that we have an open, honest dialogue. And, you know, I don't even know how this goes sometimes. You just jump in, Mike, and you hope for the best. We redheads are good at just saying, just do it. So we're going to do it this morning. So I'm going to start the questions now. We have actually sent out some emails. Mayor, we got a lot of questions about school. So I'm going to jump in with one of the questions. Now, we started getting these off Facebook, but again, the number here to call into our county mayor is 800-8949. It's 1 full hour full of question and answers. No questions off the table. Right, Mayor?
No questions
I
off the
love
table.
that. I love that. And I don't have to answer them.
And I haven't seen your questions, so.
Yeah, let me say that again. These, you haven't seen these. I'm going to keep hiding them from you.
Okay.
So, let's see. Here's one. What is the status of the budget and allocations for school buildings? Who decided which schools will get money for building upgrades and other changes? That came up quite a bit, and I know that I know those answers, but that's a mouthful. So, who decided which schools will get what money and the building upgrades?
Well, the building upgrades in the schools in general, people have a tendency to forget really how government works, but that is the decision of the superintendent, takes it to the board. Superintendent actually works for the Hamilton County Department of Education Board,
Okay.
and they make those decisions, and then they make the request for the funding for those from the county general government, which is, you know, through myself, which goes to the commission and asks the county commission to approve the funding. So
Right.
Sometimes it gets kind of convoluted because you hear people making public statements, but at the end of the day, I always try to caution people to say to them that, you know, what works best is when we all stay in our lanes and do what we're responsible to do, and try not to, we may offer suggestions, and try not to do their jobs for them.
So what about the questions I had? That particular question was about Harrison, and they had a ton of sub-questions. So they were saying that Harrison had not ever been approved, and now all of a sudden they've got this money. How did we get it, and why didn't they get more is the question.
Why didn't Harrison get more, or why the schools?
Why
didn't get
Harrison didn't get more. So it was more focused on Harrison. They were wondering
Yeah.
why Harrison, because they got a track, right? And
Well, yes, and we were building a brand new Harrison Elementary School,
Right.
which is long overdue, and proud that we're able to do that. And it was scheduled to broken ground in January, but due to the weather, and it's already been. Actually, we've had some community meetings there where we shared, you know, the plans, and so there's still a number of people in the community that don't think it's going to be built. If you're out there listening, Harrison Elementary.
now, whose district is that? That's
It's
Chester.
actually, I think Warren Mackey.
Hello. Well, I'm corrected. I thought
They're
that was
right
wrong.
there on the border, and,
Okay.
and both of them claim.
But now I've seen the track happening, but, so you're saying
Yes.
that the school is actually, they're getting a new school.
They are.
Now, aren't they merging some of those?
Well, the talk right now, and I communicate frequently with Dr. Brian Johnston, there's, the discussion is about Hillcrest Elementary will also go there.
Right.
And then there's some discussion about Lakeside Elementary. I think some of that's still going to be, they're going to make a magnet school there or whatever, so.
See, I
you know,
haven't heard that. That's
you
super.
know. Well, and I don't want to give away too much of the
yes.
superintendent's.
And we know, Dr. Johnson, that
Yes.
all of this is not, I'm going to say not valid until it comes out of your mouth.
That's right, and the board.
However, you know, people are asking, like, you see the questions here? These were
I see you got several pages.
Yeah, these were generated from an email blast that we sent out. So, again, the number is 800-8949. What does our Mayor Coppinger do to encourage and lead his county commission? How much interaction does he actually have with them on a daily basis?
Well,
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
Because we kind of think
Yeah.
y'all are all locked arm in arm hanging out, you know, all the time.
Well, I mean,
Mike's shaking his head, no.
Well, it would be virtually impossible because, you know, we have different responsibilities
This is true.
as we learn in civics early on. You know, the mayor's office actually is the administrative or the executive branch, and they're the legislative branch and government. And
School was a minute because, you know, a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
this.
Now, a lot of people
And
think
it's
that.
okay, let me say, it's okay
Yeah.
out there not to know. We got a call. It's okay not to know, but it's not okay to stay there.
Right.
You got to start educating
Educate
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
got a caller. Let's take this call. You know, this is where I have to use the buttons, Mayor. All right, caller, you're there. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, I just wanted to know, why are there more women in leadership in our county government?
Okay, hang on for me now. Because we're doing Facebook, I need to make sure these questions are said out loud. So tell me your question again, and where are you calling from in the county?
Calling from Hickson.
Okay, from Hickson, and your question again is, why are there not more females in the Hamilton County government versus males? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, that's a great question, and the mayor said
Yes.
he's taken all of them.
Yes.
So, caller, thank you for the call. Let's get that answer. Hang on with me, okay?
Well, I would say, and first of all, to the caller, thank you for your question. And, you know, a lot of times people don't realize, you know, the people that are out front, like the mayor or these elected officials, and are not, a lot of the work gets done because people behind it are so competent in what they do. And, for example, two of our administrators that come to mind real quickly is Becky Barnes. I don't know if you're familiar with our
Yeah,
health
Becky.
department, but
She's a rock star.
yeah, Becky's taken public health to a whole new level here in this state. and
She's
in
an
this region.
innovative kind of person.
Absolutely, and you know, we're really proud of what our health department's able to accomplish, and the importance of it. It's a large department. There's well over 100 people that she supervises there. The other piece, and anybody will tell you this in a managerial role, I know Donna knows this as well. Our HR administrator, Alicia Pohl, she's been with us now a few years, and
She's great at what she does.
really
Great,
good.
well known in HR in the city, in the county, known for doing about her business.
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, and prior to her, we had a lady that really started our HR department to where it is. She's in the DA's office as a prosecutor, Leslie Longshore.
Hey, that's the kind of HR person I want on my side.
Well, when
HR prosecutor?
when I first got there, the HR director was leaving, and that was one of the things I thought, well, it'd be great to have an attorney here that's also
Yeah.
had an experience. And
Yeah.
and so she actually, you know, when she came on board, and then Alicia followed her. So again, we're constantly recruiting women for these roles. We had a really up and coming star, and this is what people don't understand about government as well. In the public sector, you can't pay what they pay in the private sector.
Let me say amen to that as an HR person. Guys,
Yes.
you go to work for the government like my dad did because the first thing you say is stability. I get benefits. I've got great health care. Those are
Right.
kind of the first things. Now, my dad was in the pension days, right? Really
Right.
strong pension. But at the end of the day, a woman is looking for what can this do to enhance my life. And a lot of times in government, it's not going to be the salary that's the kind of the catch. It's more
Right.
the appeal of getting off at 5 o'clock
Yeah.
every day.
Well, we had a really talented lady when I first got there that in our finance department that you know, obviously was going to move up, but you know, the private sector found out about her, and they come recruit from the public sector.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really tough because, you know, in this day and age, people are really actively, and so are we in government. I know the city does, the county does, and the state does. We're actively trying to recruit and have more diversity, and every time public sector gets a hold of people like that, private sector is looking for them too. They can pay them more. We can't compete.
Well, caller, I know you're asking about the females and how many female, not how many, but why don't we see more females in the government? So I'm going to ask a question and piggyback yours about females that I had on the email.
Janet
So-
Randall, Mayor.
So what now?
Janet Randall.
Jennifer.
County
Who is
auditor.
this? Jennifer.
Oh, yeah.
Another person. Who is she?
Well, Jennifer Randall, as he mentioned, she's our auditor.
Yeah.
And again, Jennifer, she's a great success story. She's come there and worked her way up, and was really proud to be, part of being able to appoint Jennifer to that. But Jennifer, and with that, she actually does the role of working half for the administrative side and half for the legislative side as an auditor.
What I do like, Mayor, is that some of the women, I'd love to see women in the higher roles, and y'all have that. I do. But I'm with the caller here. I'd love to see more women. And,
Sure.
and one of the questions, and that's just me, that's across the board, but it says the city mayor built a mayor's council for women and has been very successful. Has our county mayor ever decided, considered to do the same? Have you ever thought about that? And, I mean, what's your thought on that? I mean, it's been a great council. I'm a part of it. And, now at the same time, I will say, Mayor, it's hard for a lot of women to make those meetings. So there's a fine balance of creating something. Is it going to be sustainable? But have you ever considered?
Yes, I mean, there's, we constantly consider ways to get more community involvement and more ways to be able to, to look at diverse issues and how you're going to address them. And there's a lot of good ladies and women's groups out there and organizations to tap into. County government's a little bit different than municipalities because of the availability of money. And really, in county government, we're an arm of the state government,
right.
and there's things that we're required to do, which is public education, health departments, unfortunately jails,
Yes.
and the judicial system or whatever, and emergency management, things that we're required to do. Where municipalities have the advantage, if you will, of being able to kind of, they have a charter that says we'll provide a police department, public works, whatever, but then they have, the bulk of our money, 63 to 65% of it's spent towards education, which, oh, by the way, I think is a great spend of our money. But municipalities do not have to fund those kind of things, so that limits us as being able.
Well, there's not funding for it. We know that when you come to the table, you've got a bunch of women who have decided to do it voluntarily. So, let me say that out there. There's not a budget for those things. I think that's what people kind of get confused on. Just because, Mayor Burke, I applaud it. I've been a part of it since the inception. However, going into it, there's no money. You know that. So going to switch gears a little bit. Caller, I want to thank you for that call. Any other things for our mayor? Thank you for that call from an awesome female in Hickson.
Well, thank you for answering.
All right, thank you. So we got, and while we're waiting on other calls to call in, one of the things, I'm going to switch gears, and I'll tell you, Mayor, these are the kind of things, even as a journalist, I'm not real easy at. I'm not real good at, setting it up, because I try to be a nice person. But anyway, let's take this call real quick. All right, caller, you're on the air on the Donna Show with Mayor Jim Coppinger.
Hi, I have a question. I heard that there was going to be a conference in Willoughby Jones. If this is true, how is that possible? What is it going to go towards?
Good question.
Great question.
Yeah. Now, didn't we just have a tax increase?
Actually, it was 2 budgets ago.
2 budgets. Look, I love it. Truly said like a mayor. 2 budgets ago. Yes. Thank you.
It seems like only yesterday.
It does. It seems like yesterday I saw it in the
and I'm sure
press.
it seems that way to property owners as well.
That's a great question, though.
It's an absolutely great question, and the answer right now is we're not certain where that's going to go.
All right, Mayor, you hear that cut in? So look, we keep talking, guys, but we're going to come right back to that question.
Let's not dodge that question.
Let's not dodge the budgets, right? We got a budget question. We've also got a question about the jail. People want to know what's going on in the jail. Can you help us with that, Mayor?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, stay tuned right here. Nuga Radio, 92.7 FM, 800-8949. The county mayor's here. Call him up. Let's have a talk. Stay tuned. I'm glad
So that was a hard break.
It was a hard break. That was real quick. Yeah, I was trying to keep it up here, but I knew it was going to jump in on this stuff.
92.7 FM's news.
I'd like to know where she heard that.
Oh, I know.
Because that's speculation.
Yeah.
But this is kind of your
So let me give that side of it. I want to give that side of it because I'm curious.
No, Mayor, you're fine.
You're the mayor. You can tell him to move if you like.
Oh, gosh, no.
We're in your house.
He actually knows what he's doing. I don't.
I do. We got.
Always yield to the people that are the experts.
Can you give me that real quick? Quick plug. That paper envelope thing. I'm going to give a quick plug.
What are you plugging with this?
Well, look, I need to send this to the mayor. We need to get you one of these for your office. So,
No picture on that.
now, so look, none, please, no pictures. This is the one I get. I mean, they give me
What
the.
is that? Is it for Mardi Gras?
Yeah, we actually have a Mardi Gras party.
So it's actually home rate mortgage. I don't know if they're like Saints. What is it? What is it?
I know,
It's on the paper.
Yeah.
It's on the paper.
Oh, yeah. Hello. It's
Work with it.
March 5th.
Yeah, work with me, right?
March the 2nd, it's the Satan Center's Mardi Gras Ball at the West End.
Saints and Sinners. Which one would I be?
Probably
Saint.
Thank you.
Mayor's trying to bring one.
Of course.
I did. That's right. He was fun.
Sean
If I I keep doing this, I'm keeping
I was glad you knocked yours loose. I thought you
I gotta pull you up.
pulled me off.
Alright, so can we pull that up first?
All on Facebook even as we talk now, right?
Yes, yes,
Well,
that's
the,
why.
the audio portion is it.
Right, Mayor,
I'm very
Yeah.
aware.
everything is on Facebook right now.
Yeah.
All right, for the whole hour.
Hey, so he, I always tell him that, so you know, I've been messing with him. And I, I'll cover it.
I won't let you think so.
No,
Well, I mean,
That's his job, but he needs to know when this man's hot or when he's
It really,
not.
I'll be honest, it really never bothers me. I mean, I would never say anything rude to somebody. But when people say things rude to me, it doesn't bother me. I mean, they're entitled to, you know, if you're going to be in run for public office, you expect it. I tell people, you're the most popular you are the day you get sworn in. After that, first decision you make starts going down. So,
Well, I think that'd be a little thick skin to do it.
absolutely. And I've had some really offensive things said to me. I was like,
I have too, when I decided to get into
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like somebody the other day said on the show, they said, and yes, it's Facebook Live, but somebody said, why do you make everybody dance? That's so stupid. I said, yeah, Ellen said the same thing. And by the way,
Whatever
Steve Harvey's
works.
wife told him the same thing. Guess what they both do?
Dance.
They dance. So until they tell me no and lock the doors, I'm dancing.
We've changed a
Well,
lot.
that's good. You got rhythm.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
It could be a lot worse. Like I could be two-stepping or something. I don't even know how to do a
the
two-step.
second song, when do you want me to do it, Don?
The first one?
We've already done the first one. The second one you sent me. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Go right in the bed tonight.
Okay.
Surprise them.
Okay.
It's a good surprise.
This liquor store, I'm there at least a couple times a week. This place has an awful
Oh, okay. Oh, his song? It isn't.
oh, the one I
It's not that long. I was
no, no.
Someone set this up. I was so excited with America. I was like, oh my God. Mike, I mean, in that moment, you know,
Yeah, everybody in the office does it.
he's going to give me about a minute and sing happy birthday to me. By the time I was looking in the eye
Over.
for it, it was done.
It's very funny, the first one.
And when you see the video of it, oh yeah, Marty later when we got home, he goes, oh, you thought you were special. The problem is now he's singing that song to me.
I had Miss Marsha call in one time to her associate who loves her,
Yeah.
and she sang her the birthday song, and it just made her day, Conda, and she was so excited.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach the mayor here how to do this, so
No, goodness gracious.
I know. I know.
I mean,
It's a minute, 2 minutes, 2.5
Yeah.
minutes.
So where do you see the two? I see the.
Yeah, you see where it's highlighted green?
Yeah.
Right, well, in the list right there.
Oh, right.
11.
See how it's highlighted green?
Yeah.
If you go over beside the audio, it shows the times. So like that
How long?
was 60 second, 30 second, 30 second, 30 seconds. So.
Gotcha.
It's like a traffic log.
Yep, yeah, that is the traffic log right there.
Huh.
So we had a lot of questions in that email blast about Ooltewah. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Ooltewah.
Ooltewah High School. Get the Ooltewah.
Specifically,
Just the two things.
The
One,
incident from
about
years
the
ago?
incident, yeah, the incident years ago about the information being public records.
okay, well, that's a school issue.
Okay. All right. What about
Remember, they are a separate authority.
yeah. Okay. We're not going to talk about that.
A friend of mine sent me a text and wanted to just ask about the industrial growth for Hampton County.
They're happy to talk about that.
So stay in here with me so you can ask that question. Okay. Here we go. Got one more and we're oh, we're not?
No, we've got.
Don't mess up your hair yet, Mayor.
I put on enough hairspray, it doesn't go over. Matter of fact, people accuse me of wearing a toupee.
No, they don't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do they not know you see the roots?
I don't know.
It's all there.
When
Yeah, they
after
accuse
it
me
go
of wearing a
by-
toupee too, Mike.
when it gets bald, I guess they're.
Yeah, I know that's real.
We can see
Look, you got a little too much pride. You
Yeah, I
go
saw
bald.
it, follow.
I'm very happy that I kept my hair.
I'm not that vain. If I go bald, I'm going bald.
Yeah, I am. I'm very lucky.
My dad used to say that up until his final day.
That'd be
He
cheaper
got
to maintain it.
hair.
Yeah.
Like, he could buzz it or whatever.
Would
but
have killed me if I lost it.
all his friends were going bald, and my dad was like, I got good hair.
Yeah, when she puts the headphones on, it breaks the headphones.
My helmet head. I'm going to create something better than this mess because this is the woman's nightmare.
good.
But look, we go like this, man. We come out like, somebody goes, oh, you've been
Oh.
today. We all can't have good hair like Mike.
That's right. I've been fighting for earbuds, but you know how that goes.
It's money.
You saw Marty out here, didn't you?
I did. My handsome husband. I don't like. Not in here. He's always trying to stay out out of the way.
Yeah, just put me on forward, Donna. After that, I'll ask the question when you get ready to put me in.
Okay.
Get that one out.
Awesome.
We'll come back after the weather, so Patrick will
Okay, so after Patrick, bed, my song.
Yep. I'm just going to stand here and play.
Yeah.
Right here, then right back here.
I gotta set it up, because it's gonna go by so fast. It goes faster than his prayer breakfast. But Mike, before the family knows, here's what Marty does. We're all, it's like, put your head down. Boom, he's done, bring it up. We're like, wait, you didn't even give us a chance to say grace. It's that fast. God bless the food. God bless the baby.
Like that?
Yeah.
And we can do it in 3. Amen.
So you want to set it up or you just want me to play?
Oh, no, we're gonna set it up. We're gonna set it up, yeah.
Ah, she's going to tee it up.
Are you kidding? I thought I was the stuff that day.
Here you go.
All right, here we go, guys. I've got Mayor Jim Coppinger in my house, my studio, on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM. Guys, you've hit the Donna Show. We're connecting you to all things community, breaking down those barriers, making sure you live your best life, guys. Why? Because we should, and you should. It's the best life, and you only get one, Mayor Coppinger.
That's it.
It's not 9 lives.
No, it's one life.
So, you know, we redheads like to think we're special. Did you know that?
Well, you are.
Well, depends on who you ask. They're going to say special in what way.
I bet Marty says that.
Where is Marty? Yes. So caller, please stay right there. But I've got to share something. Now, the mayor comes up in my house over at Tranco and MSI, and we're doing a great tour, right? But he finds out it's my birthday. So, Mike, before we start the tour, he says he's going to sing happy birthday to me. Now, in my mind, I think, okay, well, he's Dad's friend. No, he's the mayor. He's going to sing. So the whole room is full, right, Mayor?
That's right.
And you set, I'm going to say this, you set me up to make me think you were about to really sing me a birthday song.
It was a birthday song.
Well, that's still subject. That's kind of questionable. We're going to say that. However, in your line of work, don't ever leave evidence, sir.
No,
Are we
I
ready,
guess I
Jason?
did.
Let's do it. Guys, this is the mayor singing happy birthday to me, and you better stay tuned because it's going to go fast.
Okay. Everybody ready? This is my favorite birthday song. Here's your birthday song. It isn't very long. Hey.
So, guys, if the mayor has any chance at having another career, I don't think that's the video that's going to get it for you.
I'm afraid to see too long. It'll clear the room out.
So, but I got to say, thank you for the effort.
Thank
A+
you.
for effort. So I love it. So we're going to go back. Caller, please call back in. I know I'm
They're on hold.
Oh, they're on hold. I love it. So what do? Just turn it up and go. All right. Caller, you're on with Mayor Jim Coppinger. What's your question? All right. Let's try it again, caller. Try it one more time. Hang on. Back up. So sorry, caller. You're on the air with the Donna Show and Mayor Coppinger. Go ahead with your question. Thank you.
I just want to know what you want for kind of marriage.
That's a great question. Stay on the phone. Stay on the phone because I want to get this answer.
Well, you know, I was very, very fortunate in August to be reelected, and that's only been a few months, so it's 3.5 years out. And again, you know, we've had quite a few accomplishments working together, and I think it's really important for people to know
He needs to run again.
it's not one or two people that
Sorry,
make
you
things
know
happen.
I'm going to act up
Well, I
sometime
know, but
today.
yeah, but you know, and we'll see. I mean, it's way too early to be making that decision.
Yeah, caller, I want to jump in on this one. This is his show today, but I'm going to say this. I want him to run again, and I've asked that question every time I've had him on the show, but I'm going to say this. I really do understand now that it's right at this time right now. A lot of people don't know that if they're running.
Right, and I mean, and it's not to be coy about it. I mean, it's just the fact that.
Thank you for saying that. It's not some secret. That's
No.
what a lot of people think that when we ask this question, and I'm just speaking from the listener side. Oh, they're feeding me a line. He
No.
knows what he's doing, but
No.
I don't believe you do.
Well, I don't. I mean, you know, I've got family, and again, we've run since 2006. I started my first campaign in 2005. We've run 10 different elections, so this was our 10th. And
That makes me tired. Just
well, in the county, you know, you're running for primaries, you're running general elections, and it's a big strain on your wife and your families.
It is.
I mean, I got 3 brothers that have families, and you know, people don't understand. The ones of us that choose to be in an elected position, we expect the criticism, but it's your families that hear it, and they don't deserve it. But I've been very, very blessed that my wife is very understanding, very supportive, and she will whatever we decide together, she'll
Nina.
support me. Nina's,
She's so sweet.
she's the best.
You know, Lindy, you know Lindy Henley?
I do know
Lindy
Lindy.
Henley, when he talks about Lindy, I'm calling you out. He's like, how in the world did Nina get him? And I keep telling him.
It's the other way around. How did I get Nina?
I mean, how did you? I mean, that's what I meant. You see,
Yeah.
The redhead always messes up a joke, and this is the thing. My listeners know it, so y'all already know when I mess up a joke. But yeah, you got what I meant there. So caller, did he answer your question? Anything else for him? All right. Thank you for listening to the Donna Show at Nuga Radio,
Thank you.
caller. All right. 800-8949.
We didn't answer the tax
We
question.
didn't. We're going to go back to
They're going to
two
think
of
we're
them.
avoiding them.
No, but that one and the budget and jail. So let's
Yeah.
start with that one first. Thank you for getting me back on track.
Well, I mean, it's too early to decide about the budget. What we require, actually, the budget never goes away. It's a 365-day a year that we're working on that. And, you know, we've asked our administrators internally to submit their requests, and it's a request. And the public should know. I mean, we generally just internally we cut $10 to $12 million out of the budget before we ever really start to finalize anything. And then we look at the Department of Education's budget, which it's submitted separately, and we haven't gotten it any of that submitted to us yet. So it's too early to make that determination. But you know, we'll start talking about that in a serious way about mid-April.
Well, hopefully, if you're game for being here once a month, Mayor, then you're going to be able to answer those questions
Absolutely,
ongoing
I'd love
all
to.
time. All right. Guys, caller, you're on the Nuga Radio 92.7 FM Donna Show. Go ahead with your question for Mayor Jim Coppinger.
Hey, great show. I have a question that is from Northern.
Right.
So when I hear mayor, I'm thinking city.
Mm-hmm.
What are the responsibilities of the county mayor, and how would that equate to what the north has?
And caller, let me make sure.
Counties up north.
I'm going to try to make sure that Facebook has this question. So your question is, in the north where you're from, they don't really have a county mayor. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know of many that do. Well, there are some that do, but I love this question because people do wonder, why do we have two mayors? So stay on the call to make sure we get all of this. But Mayor, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's been, I guess now probably 15 years ago that the state of Tennessee made the decision. It used to be county executives and made the decision. And a lot of people didn't understand what a county executive did or what that meant. And so they decided to turn it over. And I think at the beginning they asked, and it was then my predecessor, the late Claude Ramsey, that decided for it to be called county mayor. I think he had the choice between the two at the time. So that's how it came to pass here in Hamilton County. And the responsibilities are, you know, there's always got to be the biggest responsibility county mayor has. They are the fiscal agent for Hamilton County government, meaning that they're responsible to make sure that we stay within budget, to make certain that that the services that we are required either by law or constitution are in fact delivered, such as public education, such as public health.
So can I add to this question? So I'm curious from the caller. First of all, great question because
It is
we
a great
do
question.
like to educate people, and I have people that are visitors from out of town for work and stuff, Mayor. And when I say, oh yeah, our county mayor or our city, oh y'all have two mayors? Why? That's the first question they ask, and I always say, well, have you met them? They're great. But on that question, does this have anything to do with the school system and the budget system? Is that also why this has been, why we have two different mayors? Does that have anything to do with it, or?
No, not at all.
Because it looked like, you know, we had the education system in the city, and now we have it in
Right.
the county. So kind of, can you bring that into the question and help me understand too?
Yeah. Again, like I said earlier, the counties are actually an arm of state government, and we have requirements of what we have to provide. Cities choose to provide things such as public education. They don't have to, but some of them always use the term, and they do a great job. I live within the city of Chattanooga because I choose to. But, you know, they enhance the quality of services they provide, such as garbage collection, you know, our very fine police department, our very fine fire department. That's what they do to enhance services, and they didn't have to do the school system, so because they didn't, they chose not to do it. And what any municipality chooses not to do, that's required by the Constitution or by state law, that's where the counties step in and have to do it.
Okay, so caller, you had a couple of parts to your question. Our next question will go to Jason, who is in-house, who had a question for the mayor. But caller, did you have another question, and did the mayor answer yours completely?
Well, I think it boils down to, from what I'm hearing, is that's probably one of the most important things that the party takes. So the city and the mayor of the county?
That's a great question, Caller.
That is a great question.
Now, I'm going to say this. I think they're Twinkies, but he's not going to agree with that. Mike Dunn's over here going, oh, dear God, no, she didn't just say that. Just kidding. They're not Twinkies.
Well, the relationship is there's a number of what we call constitutional offices within county government that are required by the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. Now, some sheriffs in certain counties, they're only responsible for the jails. Our sheriff is also responsible, and he's still responsible for the jails, but also delivers services out into the community. But
and how many people report to him? Do you know? I mean, just an idea?
I don't have any. It's going to probably close to 200.
Jeez. As an HR person, hats off to him. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And so again, I mean, we meet frequently and talk about different issues, but at the end of the day, he is elected by the people, he or she in the future. It could be anyone, but the sheriff's elected by the people and answers to the people, not to the mayor. So that's a lot of a misnomer that you hear from time to time. I get a lot of phone calls from people that say, you ought to do something about that school system. Well, the way that our government's set up, that school system is responsible to the board. People will say that about the jails, or about law enforcement. You need to talk to that sheriff. Well, the sheriff is like myself. They're elected by the people. They answer to the people. And I'll say this to you, like I tell my 8-year-old granddaughter. She says, you can come do whatever, and she'll use this thing to say, you don't have a boss. And I said, well, you're wrong about that. I got 360,000 plus bosses.
Is that your granddaughter?
It's my granddaughter.
Let me tell your
I got a lot of bosses.
He's got more bosses than I will have in my lifetime at this moment. So, caller, that was a great question.
It was a great question.
Did he get your answer?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome. Caller, what area of the county are you calling from? Hamilton, of course. Is there any other caller? Thanks for watching for listening to.
Except I wish they would change the name of Jefferson.
You know what? We're not going there. We're not going there. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this redhead. Thank you. Bye-bye. Awesome. All right, so now we have a question. Now, we're going to go back to the jail question in a minute. But Jason is one of our the engineer here. He's at the mic now. Jason, your question goes along with mine, so I'm going to let you ask first.
Yeah,
go ahead.
A friend of mine sent a text to me, Mayor. Wanting to know what your office is planning on doing about more industrial growth for Hamilton County.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That is
Tell
a
your
great
friend
question.
that was super.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to piggyback this one after we get your answer.
Well, we've been extremely successful over the past several years, and particularly, I'll talk about my tenure. I mean, we've recruited and had over 50 new companies come to Hamilton County, and we've had expansions which are just as important to us. I mean, I'm talking about large expansions with hundreds of employees, of over 100. I think the number's 108 now. And the best thing about this is they've been able to create over 16,000 new jobs, and it's about we work diligently. I think the people want us to do that, to recruit businesses and to also be able to create these jobs. And now we're working on workforce development. But at the end of the day, I can remember when I was growing up, the biggest complaint was if you grew up, you got an education, you had to go to Nashville, you had to go to Atlanta.
You had to leave to take it.
You had to leave. And now, our unemployment is less than 3%. It's an all-time low. And we're really proud of that. So, because people that want to stay here, there's opportunities. And we're really proud of the diversity of our jobs. And
I'm going to jump in here, if you don't mind, Mayor, because I want to get my question in. So, workforce development, first of all, great question to your friend. Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely.
What is Hamilton County doing to be more job-friendly? And a 2 to 3% unemployment rate, it's what I like to say as an HR person. Now, again, this is if you're not working right now, it's either one or two things. You're caught up in that whole cycle of this 2 to 3%, or you're not employable. Now, if you're in that other part where, hey, keep working it because you got to work it harder, as it's 2 to 3% unemployment. But my question to you would be this: as an HR person, we talked and you know what we have going on. What are businesses to do to get more involved? Because you do see a lot of PR on the jobs for Volkswagen, but some of that falls under the city when they promote it. But I tell people, every bit of that is city and county. Everybody has access. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just because, I'm going to say this, and this is Donna speaking, just because something's promoted under a city paper or a city PR, whatever it is, a marketing, does not mean that it's not specific to Hamilton County. So what are the jobs that we're looking at? What opportunities do people have right now when you think about workforce development? And what's the future look like, Mayor?
Well, the future's bright, and I'm really proud to be able to say that to you. But as we recruit businesses, I should say this. I want to give a big plug to Chattanooga State and also to
Lulu, Copeland out there, all of them. We don't call names because we'll forget somebody, but Chat State.
Lulu looks a lot younger than me, but we actually went all the way back to high school together. But Chattanooga State is a real jewel for us here locally, because a lot of businesses that are coming here, they're looking for that community college that will train to their specific need, and they've done that. UTC stepped up recently, and they're doing a lot to help with that. They're doing a lot, and our chamber has workforce development programs, and so. Again, as you just mentioned, I mean, we partner a lot with the city of Chattanooga on different ventures. We don't try to be, by design, we don't try to be as out front as they are. Some people prefer more publicity than others, but again, it is a cooperative effort between the city, the county, the state, and in some instances, the federal government.
Well, we talk about a lot here on this show. We talk about a lot what the counties do, and we'll continue to do that because I believe in you. I believe in your administration.
Well, thank you.
The station does. I can speak and say that freely, that we support you. We got a caller on the line. Caller, go ahead.
I had a question for the mayor.
Yeah, he's on there. Mayor Jim Coppinger is on the phone with you, so go right ahead.
I wanted to know what he's saying about the county of a couple of African Americans been down in the county.
So you know what, caller? I'm so glad. Let me get back to my question. This came on email, so stay with me. The question was, I want to make sure I've got it right. The question was, there were 2 African Americans who died in the county jail, and I believe that's what you're referencing. So am I right, caller?
Yes.
So what I would like to know from the caller and from myself, that was a question. What happened to these 2 men? What can you give us and tell us about that update? And what are we doing to make sure our jail is safe, Mayor?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, as I said earlier, the sheriff and I communicate constantly, and I'm not at liberty to discuss what are cases that are pending or whatever.
And honestly, I know that, Mayor, but I'm supposed to ask as a journalist.
I understand.
So I want to make sure my listeners know I'm asking that question. But yes, we don't want you to do anything outside, but go ahead.
And again, if he was prepared, the sheriff was prepared to make those comments, I mean, I would, it would be better coming from him, but he's elected, he's responsible for our law enforcement and when people are in custody, and I know from talking with him, it's always a concern to him about people's personal safety, whether they've been arrested or not, because there is still a presumption of innocence here.
That's right.
So I know it's a concern.
And even if not, if you're in a jail, if my cousin or my uncle, my brother, whoever is in the jail tomorrow, we want them to be safe.
Right.
So what I would do, though, caller, what I am going to do is I am going to ask our sheriff to come on the show. He's very open and always comes on. He supports the station, even when the station is pushing him on information. He's always been supportive. So we're going to have him on the show because I want to go straight to the source, and the mayor can only give us so much on those things. I learned that, and I know that people don't know that. I'm learning now. Again, my dad was in a fire. He was in the firemen, and in that world. When you're in that world, you start understanding the inner workings. More importantly, I understand now where authority sits, and when you understand where that power sits, you can then work towards changing something by policy. That's kind of how I see it. So, caller, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna make sure we get what's his name? Sheriff. Thank you, Sheriff Jim Hammond, Drew Blake. We can blink out on the radio, but we're gonna get him on here to talk about that because I've had that question several times. Is that gonna be okay, caller?
Yes.
All right, I appreciate you, caller. Go ahead.
If I can, let me ask
hang on, caller, don't hang up.
Well, I just wanted to add something to your comment.
Please
do. I hear this all the time when people talk about a power or authority, whatever. I think it's about responsibility. I mean, the people that are elected are not people that have power. It's about they might have the authority to do something, but they have a lot more responsibility. And so I've never thought of my job as being a powerful job, but it's a job where you're responsible, and you're responsible for people. And in this case, I'm sure the sheriff would love to come on and talk to you about, he understands the responsibility when you take somebody into custody, and certainly they do a good job. I'm proud of our men and women that serve in the sheriff's department.
And let me rephrase what I'm saying. What I'm learning as a constituent. You learn, Mayor, where who owns something.
Right.
And when you learn that the mayor doesn't own every aspect of the county jail, or vice versa, it does change the way you think and the way you act. So with that, I know we don't have time for any more calls today. We've had a show full. Now the mayor is, I've given him an invite to be here once a month, and we're going to work that out with Mike and the team. But Mayor, you got this mic for once a month to do Q&A. People like to hear from you, and,
Sure.
and I'll be honest with you, I'm speaking more as a constituent. People get surprised when mayors show up like this to do Q&A.
Yeah.
They do, and I'm not.
Well, you know, I don't know of any elected mayor that wouldn't welcome the opportunity, because what you get is the opportunity to see what's on other people's minds,
do.
and so you're not stuck in this vacuum to where you don't know what's really going on. So this is very helpful to me, and I thank you for the opportunity. I thank all your callers for their questions.
Thank you.
Because those are really important.
Well, they are, and Mayor, I just appreciate you. 30 seconds before we go out, and I just appreciate you. I appreciate your honesty, your candor, and you know, you said it to Mike and I. All questions, nothing's off the table. That makes my job so easy.
Yeah.
Now, it makes Mike a little nervous, but that's okay. He's good at his job. He's great at his job. So, guys, be looking here once a month. The county mayor, he's going to answer your questions. Nothing's off the table. And, guys, that's what you said you needed. That's what you said you wanted in the show. We're tuning out now. We got about 2 seconds now, Mayor. But, again,
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank
on
you.
the Donna Show, guys. And you know what? When you ask the mayor and he shows up, you kind of get a little, like, starstruck, Mike.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, listen at him, I do, guys. So you're right here with the Donna Show. We're taking it out with Mayor Jim Coppinger. Guys, I appreciate you, all you do. Keep connecting with people, information, and resources that help you live your best life right here in our county, our region, and our city. The Donna Show, guess what, Mayor? We're out.
We're out.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're still hot on all mics. Hey, guys. Oh, yeah, we're still hot.
He's directing.
We're still hot on all
Marty's
mics.
directing
What?
from over here.
Look, do y'all see this? This is what I have to live with. You see him back there? He's been telling me what to do the whole show.
Oh, really?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Mike, say hi. So, like, I know you and they know you, but everybody says, who's that guy always walking around with a mayor? I'm like, he's a bodyguard. He's got a deadly pen, right? So, all right, guys, this is where we say we're out. Here, Marty. This is where we say we're out. You're just in time. Ready? All right, Mayor, tell your people you're out. 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
We're out of here.